We're on Dalit and Bays, but I was thinking on the way here, on the bottom, I was reminded of a vart I once saw from Mendel Kaplan. Mendel Kaplan said, once told this Talmidim, they were learning a Gemara with the Gemara, I don't remember which Gemara it was, I don't remember if it said, it was not pleasant Gemara, it was talking about people doing icky things, like we're going to see in today's daf, and we've seen in the last day or two. And he said, can you imagine the Mesiras Nefesh, I might be misquoting, that what Chazal went through so that we should understand, to go plumb the depths of all these cases and that we should know what the halacha is. So that's a good perspective on these Gemaras. So let's see the Gemara today.
It says it's Skokie, Rashi over there.
Yeah.
So Baruch needs to come for advice.
Yeah.
So Baruch had a question, give him the advice. Came to the point where other Baruch were following the same advice that he gave to earlier Baruch. What did they go do? And he found out about it. So he told him, "Why raise it? Raise it."
Right. I hear. Okay. Good. Well said. Okay, so let's see the Gemara. Where are you seeing? Okay, so we're up to the bottom of the Dalit and Bays. 6 lines up to the bottom. The Gemara says, Tanur Rabbanan. The Rabbanan learned in a brisa. Zachar lei'asu by katan kigadol. By mishkav zachar, they did not make a katan like a gadol. In other words, if a gadol is mizana with a katan, where the gadol is the sheichev and the katan is the nishkav, then he's not chayiv. That's the halacha by mishkav zachar. Behema also a katan kigdel, but by behema there's no difference between a katan and a gdel. It's the same thing. If the behema is behema, and the person who is nirva with the behema will be chayiv. My lav also by katan kigadol. My also by katan kigadol. What does this mean that we say that we don't make a katan like a gadol? Amaravli also bias pachas ben teisha hashanim ki ben teisha shanim. Rav says this is talking about a ben teisha shanim, that we said that some bia on a less than a 9-year-old won't be like the bia of a 9-year-old. In other words, so it's not every katan. It means that someone who's less than 9 years old will be pater. And Shmuel Amar le'osu bias pachas ben shalosh shanim ki ben shalosh shanim. We don't make the bia of someone who's less than 3 years old, like the one who is 3. What's the machlekes? Mar Savar. Rav Savar called Isi b'Sheichev, Isi b'Nishkav. V'chod Lesi b'Sheichev, Lesi b'Nishkav. Whatever you have by the Sheichev, where does a bia start? A ben, someone who's considered a male is considered a bar bia once he is 9. So the same thing by a Sheichev will be by the Nishkav, and therefore, until the Nishkav is 9, the Sheichev won't be chayev. Shmuel Amar loyasu bias pachas ben shalosh. Shmuel Savar mishka ve'isha ksev. Shmuel says mishka ve'isha. Whenever you have by a zachar. By zachar it says mishka ve'isha. That's the makar is that bia onto a zachar is like bia onto a woman, and bia onto a woman is considered a bas bia once she's 3 years old. So for a zachar boy also, it would be, the chiyuv would be after 3 years old. Zakli mar weiter. Tanya kavasi de Rav. We have a brisa that's a raya to Rav. Zachar ben teisha shana v'yem echad. For zachar, for mishkav zachar, the chiyuv is being boiled ben teisha shana v'yem echad. That's already a raya to Rav. The top of the page, abal behema, new case, someone is boil behema, being kedarka ben shalei kedarka, whether it's kedarka or not kedarka, so whether the bia of the behema is kedarka or shalei kedarka, the isha maviyas behema Allah ben kedarka ben shalei kedarka, or a lady brings a behema onto her to be boil her, whether it's being boil her kedarka or shalei kedarka. In all these cases, chayiv. Well, Maisa, we brought this for the first case to tell you the case of Zachar ben Teish Shana v'Yem Echad, and that's a raya to Rav. Jakdamar Viter. Darash Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda. Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda said the following drush. Be'isha shnei mishkaves. By a woman, there's 2 mishkaves. Bish Kedarka, Bish like Kedarka. Behema Mishkavech, and by Behema, it's one Mishkav. Now Rashi explains that Rav Nachman has to be talking about by Revei and Nerfa, by Bimbaila Behema, because we already know that by a person, by a woman, Stam, that Mishkavei Isha, we have that that's Gemara Mishnayis all over the place. We know this halacha. So it must be the Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda is coming to say a Chiddush by Behema, and to say that a Behema that's Boil in Isha, whether he's Boil in Kedarka or Shalai Kedarka, is going to be Chayiv. But by Behema Mishkavechad, if a person is Boil Behema, that's only Mishkavechad, there's no Shalai Kedarka by Behema. Maskala Rav Papa, I'll just explain Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda, because the pasuk Mishkavei Isha is talking about humans. It's written by Zachar, by Mishkav Zachar, and it's talking about the behemoths. It's talking about Mishkavei Isha. So it's talking about men and women, but it's not talking about behemoths. So you have no makar that someone who's boil an animal shlei kedarka is going to be chayiv. Maskal Rav Papa has the kasha. Ad Rabba, the Svara says it should be the other way around. Isha to urchehi am mishkav machayev am midamachrin alay machayev. By a lady, it's normal for her to be nevelas. So it makes sense to say that it's the thing that's normal for her to be nevelas would be for kedarka. So if a baby is boiler kedarka, he'll be chay. The lady will be chay, but shlei kedarka she won't be, because that's not normal. But behema, the lav urchehi, but by a behema where it's not normal to be boiler behema, then l'chayev alak al kol nekev and nekev on any hole, so to speak. In other words, being kedarka and shlei kedarka, you should be chayev. So,
what's the word for you? Amidam?
Yeah, I think that means a thing.
What?
I think that means a thing. I think we see it in Targum sometimes. I couldn't place it, but I believe it means a thing.
I thought it was a mistake in the Gemara.
It's not. Rashi says the same breath. Yeah. Okay. It was definitely a strange word to me also. Okay, Zakmar Vaiter, Tanya learned in a Brisa, and the Brisa is going to be both not like Rav Nachman, Rav Chisda, and not like Rav Papa. What does the Brisa say? Zachar ben Tesha Shana v'yem echad, a Zachar who's 9 years and a day, Habal behema, it's boil behema, ben Kedarka ben Shalai Kedarka, whether it's Kedarka or not Kedarka, is going to be chayiv. Not that the Zachar will be chayiv, because he is a chatan. But the behema will be chayiv to get killed. I'm going to say later on. What?
Gemara says Tesha Zachar b'Tesha Shana.
Yeah.
He's already 9.
This is the same Brisa as before, actually. Okay, so let me read it again. Tanya, our Brisa that we said before, we're going to quote again, is not like both of them. Zachar, for Zachar to be chayiv, and Teish Shana v'yem echad. If he's boil a kid who's 9 years and a day, then he'll be, the adult will be chayiv. Haba ala behema, someone is boil a behema, being kedarka ben shalai kedarka, whether it's boil a behema, kedarka or shalai kedarka, this piece is not like Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda, because Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda said that by a behema you only have mishkav echad, you don't have a chiyuv on bia shalai kedarka. If someone's boil a behema shalai kedarka, according to Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda, won't be chayiv. So this first part of the Brisa is not like from Nachman bar Rav Chisda. Then the second part of the Brisa is by Isha Maviyas behema aleha, a lady who brings the behema to be boiled her, being kedarka ben shloi kedarka, whether kedarka or shloi kedarka, chayiv will be chayiv. So this is not like Rav Papa who wanted to say Isha D'Urchu will only be chayiv on mishkav, not on other things. Fine. Ravina said to Rabba, Ma'ara b'zachar mahu. Someone who's ma'ara by a zachar, what is that? What's the halacha? So the Rashi says ma'ara is that he takes the tip of the aver and puts it in to the zachar. So that means it's not a full bia, but just a little tiny bit. Frak the Gemara, what do you mean? What's the shaila? Hama'ara b'zachar mishkavei isha ksev. It says mishkavei isha that the bia like by a bia to a man is the same halacha as bia is to a woman, and the halacha by a woman is that even a ma'ara, even a little tiny bia will be considered like a gemar bia to gabi chayiv and einshen. So the halacha should be that he's going to be chayiv. Like, what's the shaila? Ella ha'ma'ara b'behema ma'ara. The real shaila Ravina was asking Rav was ma'ara b'behema. What's going to be the by someone's ma'ara b'behema? Do we say that being ma'ara to behema is also considered like a full bia, or to be chayiv you have to do gemar bia? Amarlei, meaning in lahara, the ksiv gabi achais imai loy tricha to iskish lahara. This is a long sentence. To iskish lahara nitinida tinei in lahara behema. What's talking about? He's saying like this. There's a pasuk that says hara. The pasuk says, it's on the side of my Gemara. The erva sachais imcha v'achais avicha l'sigala. Don't be megala the erva of your mother's sister or your father's sister, your aunt. Ki as she'eri hara, because he was hara. That's our lashon. A tiny bia by a she'eri's relative. Avani miso get tavera. It's no misa, but it's kares. No misa b'dei adam, I mean, but it's kares. So now we didn't need this pasuk. Rashi explains the reason why we didn't need this pasuk to tell you that hara is chai by ishis by achais av or achais aim, by a person's aunt, is because the pasuk says elsewhere in the parasha that hara is chayiv, and we have a hekesh that we're makish all the arayos over there in achremais. In Emor, we were makish them all together. So now, the Gemara is saying that you have an extra pasuk by achais aviv and achais imai, but talking about hara. What's it coming to tell us? So the Gemara says, if you don't have the hara by achais aviv and achais imai, you don't need it for that. The iskish lahara, the nida, because achais aviv and achais imai is connected to a hara of a nida. And they win in lahara the behema. Let's stick it in to tell us that this is the makar for hara for behema, that even a behema will be chayiv by hara, just a little bit. Found it?
It's my car.
Good. Okay. Frak the Gemara, Mechti. Let's see. Behema mechayiv mises besdin. Behema, someone being boil of behema is by chayiv mises besdin. Why are we writing this halacha? We're saying that the halacha of hara by behema we learn out from this pasuk by achais aviv and achais imai. That's chayv krisos. That's not chayv mises bezdin. Lichtve gabe chayv mises bezdin. If we look more chayv mises bezdin. Let's write it by chayv mises bezdin, and then learn out the topics that are negaya, that are connected to each other. Chayv mises bezdin. Chayv mises bezdin. So our answers: Hel v'kulei kol drasha udasa. Ksivanam mimasa drasha. Since the whole pasuk is coming for a drasha, and Rashi says that the Gemara in Yavamas explains that really the entire pasuk is extra, so we stuck in another extra thing so that we have another thing to darshan from this pasuk. Period. Okay. Now, we are about 10 lines up in the thin lines on Nanhei Amar Aleph. Rav Chadvi bar Ami Rav Sheshes. Rav Chadvi bar Ami asks Shaila to Rav Sheshes a very strange question. Somebody was boil himself, a male obviously. He went and was boil himself. This is a gymnastics situation. Amarlei, so Rav Sheshes said back to Rav Chadvi bar Ami, Kvaston, you're being mitzar me, Rashi says. You're troubling me unnecessarily. This is not shayach. Right? It's not shayach to this.
Since Harry's able was so long, like double the size.
That's true. The Gemara does say that about para. Yeah. Amar Rav Ashi, mighty boilach. What's the shayla? Really, it is a good shayla. The kushi like mishkachasla. If the aver is hard, then it's not possible. Ki mishkachasla b'mishamash meis. It's possible by mishamash meis. So then the person could twist around and be boiled. Now, the shaila is like this. There's a different machlokes that the Gemara has in Yevamis that says that if someone is mishamish to one of the arayis, but his aver is not hard, so Mela, is that considered a real bia or not? And according to there's one man there who says he's pater, it's not considered a real bia, and over here also hacha pater.
We have children with the limbe also.
True.
True.
But that's not the question. Is a bia? We have to get next time around Nivamas. We'll get to it again. Okay. The truth is, it says on the top that the Gemara and Shavuos brings down also. So Mitzvah Hashem, we're getting to Shavuos pretty soon. So According to Mandamar over there, that says that if the person's chayiv, over here also you'd be chayiv. And it'll be, I'm sorry, Hacham Mechayev Tarti, you'll be Chayev too. Mechayev HaSheichiv and Mechayev HaNishkav. He's doing both Mishkav Zachar being the Sheichiv and both being the Nishkav. He's going to be Chayev too. If he did it for Sheichiv, he's going to be Chayev too Chatayis. Okay. Oh, my name is Rav Sheshes. That's the different child from Rav Sheshes. Now we're going to switch to Avodah Zarah, and then we're going to come back to our case over here in Gemara. I'm sorry, not up to Avodah Zarah yet. Avodah Zarah is coming soon. What's the halacha by Oivik Kachavim that is mizana with a behema? Takala v'kolan binan v'hacha takala ika kolan. That I'll explain in a second. Do you need takala and kolan? Over here you have takala and not kolan. Idilma takala af bishain kolan. Takala without kolan. What's going on? Let's turn back a page to Daf Dalet Amud Aleph in the bottom and look at the Mishnah again. The Mishnah said in the bottom of the page, halfway through the Mishnah, Ella im adam chata behema machata. The halacha is that's v'gamas behema tarogu. You have to kill the behema. Why do you kill the behema? What did the behema do wrong? It's not a bardas. Doesn't know what he's doing. The Gemara says Ella one reason. Ella lefisha ba la adam takala al yada, because the takala stumbling block came to a person because of the behema. Therefore. Therefore, the Torah says that the behema should get its skila. That's one thing. Davar achar, the Mishnah says another thing. Davar achar, shaloite behema iveres b'shuk. The behema shouldn't be passing in the shuk. V'yamru zui sheniska plani al yada. And people say, oh, that's the behema that Yankel got killed because of it. So now. There's two reasons. The Gemara calls the first reason takala, that a takala came to a person through this behema, therefore it gets skila. The second reason is kolan, it's a bezayin. It's a bezayin that you should have this behema that people could say, oh, it's because of this behema the uncle got killed. Okay. So now the Gemara has the shayla, what's going to be by a guy? By a guy, what's the halacha? Yes, that is true.
What's the shayla?
What?
What's the shayla by a guy named Behema?
Oh, so the Gemara is going to say.
And itself is the same thing.
We're not talking about the halacha of the guy right now. What? We're not talking about the guy right now. We're talking about the behema. If a chavim was boil a behema, do you have to kill the behema? Takala v'kalan binan. Do you need both reasons that the Mishnah says? Both the reason of takala and kalan. You have a takala because the guy is going to get killed. He's not allowed to do this. The guy, if Bezdin is in charge, Bezdin would kill a guy who does a bia with behema because one of the Shemitz ben Enayach is their Musar on Arayis. So Oivik Kachavim is not allowed to go be boil a behema. So Bezdin would kill him, right? But so there is a takala. But kalan leka, it's no embarrassment by the guy that he's getting killed because of this. Or do you say that even though there's just takala and no reason of kalan, you still kill the behema? In other words, each part of the Mishnah in and of itself is enough of a reason to kill the behema. So Rav Sheshes answered, Rav Sheshes answered, we learned this. We have this from bring a raya from a different thing. We have a brace like this. Ma ilanais. Gemara says, madach trees. What's it talking about? It's talking about where an ashera, where somebody's over a tree. It's an ashera. Ashera is a Avodah Zarah tree, right? She'ein oichlin. trees don't eat. Ve'ein shaisin, they don't drink. Ve'ein merichin, they don't smell. Amar Torah, Hishach Yisreifei Kalei. Torah says, destroy it, burn it, and make it gone. So, because a takala came to a person through this tree. Somebody who sways his friend from the ways of life, the way of the Torah, to the ways of death. For sure, he should get destroyed. Now, this is more of a brisa by Asherah. But the Gemara Rav Sheshet is saying, we see the same thing. We see from just like by Asherah, there's takala, but there's no kalain. A tree can't get embarrassed, right? So for sure, an animal, you have the reason of takala. You should kill the animal. So Gemara says, El Me'ata, if that's the case, if you're going to tell me this logic, I'll tell you the case like this, and it's going to be a kasha. A guy, this guy was more refreshing. He doesn't boil his behemah, he just bows to his behemah as a Zara. Now, halacha is that a person who does bows to his behemah like a Zara, like in India, they worship the cows. I don't know exactly. Yeah, I don't know how they worship the cows. I don't know if it counts as Zara or not, but their cows are holy, right? So let's say you worship a cow, right? Not you. Let's say a person, a guy who worships a cow. So now the halacha is like this: he gets killed because the guy is not allowed to do avodah zarah. But the cow, the halacha is, generally speaking, a bal chai doesn't become asur bana. If a person does avodah zarah to a statue, that statue becomes asur bana. But the pasuk is exeris akasa that a bal chai, a live thing, it doesn't become asur bana. So normally, this animal should not become asur bana. But fact the Gemara, tita ser, over here it should be become asur umikdala and it should get killed. Why? Because it turns out that this animal that the guy worshipped is going to be the cause for his getting killed. Right? So you have the reason of takala. And the Gemara says,
did nothing and then do nothing.
No, we're saying it's like the tree. Just like by the tree, there's a reason of takala. And you say you cut down the tree. You cut down that tree. You cut down the tree, the Gemara says, right? The Torah says, kalei strike, so destroy that tree. So we say, and it's only the reason of takala. So Rav Sheshet wanted to bring a raya that over here also, where you only have the reason of takala, because the guy is not worried about culling, but he does have the reason of takala. He's going to get killed because he was boiled this animal. So we should kill the animal also, just like we kill the tree.
Well, but a tree is part of something else that gets killed. I mean, gets destroyed.
The tree is a tree. It's by itself. I'm not sure what you're asking. The tree is a tree.
The tree was part of that Asherah problem.
The tree is from the
Asherah. Was the animal.
So the tree was the cause of his getting killed for Asherah, right?
The tree gets killed for Asherah.
A person who worships a tree, right? He goes bows down to a tree. It's doing his thing, right? It's feeding the empty space in his neshama, right? So he bows down to the tree. Now he feels all fulfilled. Vesnit's going to come and going to kill him and kill the tree. Now, why we kill the tree? What did the tree do?
Because that was part of his position.
The tree brought him a takala. Right? The tree caused his death.
So
what? Yeah, but it's still not alive. Yeah, you hear where you're coming from. It's still not alive. So that's what it says. They don't eat, they don't drink, they don't smell. So Rav Sheshet said, in the case of when a guy is boyel a behema, then it's true that the behema has no feelings, but the behema is the reason why the guy got killed, and therefore the behema should get killed.
The behema is like karka.
What?
The behema is like karka.
It's true, but the tree is literally karka.
Yeah.
Right? The point is that it caused the takala. Through this, the takala came to the person, because if the animal wouldn't have been there, he wouldn't get killed, right? If he had no animal to be killed, he wouldn't have gotten killed. Okay, so then the Gemara says, if that's the case, and you according to Rav Sheshet is saying that the reason of takala alone is enough to be mechayev somebody misa. Track the Gemara, this is a problem because of a different case where we know the halacha is not like this. What's the case? Where a guy is oived avodah zarah to his animal. He bows down to his cow.
He's chayev misa.
He's chayev misa. Halacha is, generally speaking, an animal that's worshipped is not asur bana. Even though a thing, if a person bows down to a tree, the tree will become asur bana. An animal, a bal chayit, won't become asur bana. The Gemara is asking, wait a second, it's true that it's not asur bana and it's not going to get killed because of avodah zarah, right? But else the reason of takala, it should get killed and it should become asur. Takala is that because of this thing, this person got killed. So now, because of this animal that the guy worshipped, he bowed down to this cow. Now he's getting killed. So it's true that the animal is not asur bana outside by the zara, but still the animal caused him to get killed. And if Rav Sheshes is right that the reason of takala alone is enough, then b'chayro you have a kasha over here because this is not the halacha by someone who's mushtachveh who bows to his own animal. Let's see that inside again. Gemara says. Elamayata, the third wide line, end of the line. Elamayata, a guy who bows down to his own behema, titasar, the behema should become asar, or mikvela, and it should get killed. How could that be? Is there such a thing to Yisrael asar to yid that'll be mutter? Because the halach is that an animal that gets worshipped, generally speaking, by a yid will be mutter. It's not asar bana. Why? Because it's there's a custom that says only if you bow down to an inanimate object like a tree or an idol, a getchka, that it becomes asur bana. You said they had enough from it. You said it was asur bana. Eagle. He nailed it up and he had everyone drink it. It was a part of the kapara, but it was doesn't say anywhere. I don't think about whether it's trying to.
It was an animate object. It was gold.
Yeah. So it should be an asur bana. Agreed. So is there such a thing that for a yid it's not asur like kachavim asar? For a guy it's asur. The Gemara answers no. Really, Yisrael gufei litzer midi dehava ravia. For a yid itself, it should also be asur because just like the case of ravia, since it's we should asur it and we should kill it, and therefore the Gemara says anachanami. You're right. So the Gemara wants to say Rav Shesh's pshat works out. But Rabaya, is going to say a different mahalach than Rav Shesh's. Amar Rabaya, zeklani meruba, v'zeklani muat. He wants to say that the nafkamina that we asked the kasha about between a guy who is boil an animal and the case of avodah zarah is that by the difference between a guy and a yid. By a guy we said you only have takala, but by a yid you have takala and kala. So he says by a yid you have a lot of kala, and it's a lot of bizayin that because of this the Rebbeinu Shalom's mitzvah was not kept. But then the particular icky way wasn't But by a guy he only has a little kala. So Rabaya holds that you do need takala and kalain, and you don't have the kalain by a guy. So therefore, he wants to say by a guy it will be you don't kill the animal, and that's one side in Rashi. Rashi says another side, or you can say Abaya really does agree with Rav Sheshes to say that you need takala and kalain, but he's just explaining it differently. However, he's not learning from Ilanis, and that's what Gemara is about to say. Gemara says in Abaya, Vari Ilana is fact Gemara, but what about the trees of Asherah? They ain't kalin and meruba, they don't have a lot of kalin, and still Vamra Torah Yishach Yisroifa Kalei. The Torah says destroy it, burn it, and get rid of it. Gemara says V'valachayim Karmina, and the Chas Rachman Alayu. The Rebbeinu Shalom has more Rachmanas on something that's alive than something inanimate like a tree, and therefore, even though Be'etzem you should have destroyed you should destroy the animal, but you don't because the Rebbeinu Shalom is more Rachmanas on Balei Chaim. Rava says different malach. Amra Torah behema nanas me'aveira tihareg. The Torah said that the behema that's nanas me'aveira tihareg, that gets a hana from the avera tareg, that through the I don't know exactly the what kind of hana the behema gets from being nevelas, but that's considered some sort of hana, and therefore and therefore it'll be chayiv, and therefore by a case of a guy, by a case of a guy also the behemoth will get killed because it was hanging by me'avera. In fact, the Gemara very lanas te'inen me'avera v'amatari yishach yisrei kalei. What?
Yeah, what they do nothing.
Yeah. What they do. And the Gemara Balei Chayim coming Chas Rachmana Alayu. We're talking about Balei Chayim that the Torah had Rachmanas on them.
This animal now, right.
I'm sorry. So the Gemara is saying, Rav over here is saying that Amar Torah Behemin Nenes Me'averi Tihareg is talking about the Biyah. But Masha'en came by Nevad, by the case of where the guy worshipped his own animal, that's where the Gemara is saying it shouldn't get killed because it doesn't get Hana. There's no Hana when someone bows to an animal for the animal. Yeah. So then that the Gemara asks, what about trees, the Asherah? They don't have Hana. And the Gemara says, no, when there's Hana, you kill the animal. When there's no Hana, even by whether you also kill it, you kill it if it's a tree. But because it's dead, it doesn't have any chiyas. But if there's no hana and it's alive, then the Torah has Rachmanas on it. Tashma. The Gemara wants to bring a raya from our Mishnah, and Rashi says that for takala alone, we're going to bring a raya from our Mishnah that the reason of takala alone is enough of a reason to kill the animal. Tashma, davar achar. This is the second pshat in our Mishnah. It said another pshat. Why do you kill the animal? The behema shouldn't go in the shuk. And people will say, this is the animal that because of this animal, Pliny got killed. So, what was that? By Yid. So now the Sefer Rashi explains, says really two things. It says, this is the animal. That means it's being merames to the kalain, right? You can point to it and make fun and say, this is the animal. Niska Pliny al Yoda, that Pliny got killed on, that's the reason of takala. So now, this second part of the Mishnah, Davar Acher, really covers everything, right? So why does the Mishnah say the first reason? The first reason, the Gemara brings a raya, that means it's talking about takala. And takala, even without kalain, would tell you that the Mishnah is coming to tell you that takala without kalain is going to be enough to kill it. And therefore, in the case of Eved Kachavim, you would kill the animal because there's takala, even though there's no kalain by a guy. My love, the Gemara says, it'll chayra me the seifa takala v'kalin. Since the seifa is takala and kalin, reisha takala b'lay kalin. A reisha is talking about the takala without kalin. Now by a yid, you're always going to have kalin. Be'echidami, what's the case of the reisha of takala without kalin? That's going to be a guy that could spoil a behema, and you have a raya that you still kill the animal. Gemara says, like seifa takala v'kalin. Sefer is talking about takal taka. Reisha is not talking about a guy. There's a bias, so to speak. I don't mean it in a negative way. We'd rather say the Mishnah is talking about Yid and straight through than to say that half the Mishnah is talking about a Yid and half the Mishnah is talking about a guy. We just said a Pirush that the Reisha of the Mishnah should be talking about a guy. Mishnah says, the Gemara says, no, I'd much rather say both the Mishnah is talking about a Yid.
Why is it about a guy then?
The Mishnah doesn't say Mefarish, it's a guy. We're trying to be Mefarish. What is the ratio of the Mishnah saying? Must be, it makes sense to say it's talking about a guy, and it's a case when you have takala without kala, and tell you that you killed the behemoth. Mara says, no, really, like, Sefer takala v'kala. Sefer is like you said, that it's just the reason of takala and the reason of kala. But Reisha, the beginning of the Mishnah, is talking about a Yid. Excuse me, and Hakamashman, it's coming to tell us that filu kala and bloita kala nami mechayvi. Even in case of kala without takala, you're going to be mechayiv. How do you have kala without takala? It's only bizayin, but the guy's not going to get killed from it. How does that happen? What's the case? This guy Nebuch didn't know that it's aser to be boil the like Rav Hamnuna asked the Shaila, Rav Hamnuna asked the Shaila, Yisrael Abal Abeim B'Shaygig Mahu, if the Yid is boil Abeim B'Shayg, what's the halacha?
Is that possible?
What? That's by Nizakin. That's by Nizakin. But we don't say he's going to be Chayav Nisa if he didn't know it was Asr. The guy grew up on a monastery.
He needed medication.
He Pasha didn't know. He had a a stroke and he forgot to have his Torah. Right? He didn't know it was Esther. You can come up with a case that would be a plausible case that you'd agree is Taka a shaking.
Right,
Okay? Maybe you need a novelist for it, but you'll come up with a case. So now,
He's having a hard time with it.
it's a shaking. You have a shaking. It was a mistake. So, Gemara says, what Rav Hamnuna asked the Shaila. By Yisrael Habala Behim B'Shaygig Ma what's halacha? Takala v'Kalan B'inan V'Hacha Kala Nika Takala Leka. Do you say you need Takala and Kalan like the Sefer of our Mishnah, and over here you only have Kalan and it's a B'Zayin? You see that cow? Yankel was B'Zayna with it. Now Yankel's alive also. He's walking around. He's the B'Shaygig. He's going to bring a Chatas, but he's not going to be Chayav Misa.
That's well publicized.
Everyone's going to know, right? Idilma Kalan Af B'Shayin Takala, or maybe the reason of Kalan is enough to kill the animal even without Takala. So the Gemara wants to say that you could say that our Mishnah is coming to say that the Reisha is talking about only Kalan, and the Reisha is coming to teach you that in a case where there's only Kalan and no Takala, there you still kill the animal. And Rashi explains, the Reisha says the word Takala. It means the Takala of the Kala. That's what it means. Okay? Tashma. I'm sorry, Amr of Yosef. Rav Yosef says, Tashma, I'll bring you a raya. We have the Shiloh over here, and I'll bring you a raya. It's a very interesting raya over here. Cases like this. Bas Shalashon V'Yam Echad, a 3-year-old, 3 years and a day. The halacha is that when is it considered that bia to a girl is considered bia? The halacha is 3 years and a day. Not that anyone should be bia a 3-year-old in a day, but if someone was, which is not a good thing to do, it would be considered a bia. So the Gemara says, Bashal Shan V'Yam Echad, Miskadesh V'Bia. A Bashal Shan V'Yam Echad, and her husband, someone was Mekadesh with bia, and with the das of the father, because the father can be Kabbalah Kedushin for his daughter who's a Ketana. The Kedushin is a Kedushin. But if we should be less than 3 years in a day, it would not be a Kedushin.
Less than 3 comes back.
Less than 3, the Rasulim come back, and therefore it's not considered a bia, right? And the same thing if she's 3 years and a day, Yavam was by her, Kana, she's married to him. And if she was married, then and someone is bail her, he's going to be chayiv al being bail in ishtish. She'll be pater. No, she's a ketana. She doesn't have das. And if she's a nida and someone is bail her, then it's considered a bia to be mitama mishkav tachtin kalyan. A bail nida, if she was precocious, if she was
3-year-old bia.
I don't know medically what's the earliest way one could be, but it certainly doesn't necessarily wait till 12, right? She doesn't have to be 3; she could be 6 or 8 or 10. It happens, or something's earlier by something. My wife is a midwife. I'll have to ask her what's the earliest that she knows of it happening. Yeah, but the point is that if she was an Ida and someone spoiled her, then he'll become Tameh in that he's Mitama sort of like a Zav, not completely like a Zav, but if he sits on something and there's Oichum or Mashkin, which are easier to become Tameh, food or drink under what he's sitting, even if he's not touching it, it'll become Tameh. By a Zav is Mitama even Kalim like that. But the Baal Nida is only Mitama and Oichum or Mashkin. Nisis l'kayin, if she gets nisuin to a kayin, like chalas b'truma, she can eat truma because she's considered king and kaspai. If somebody's boil her and he's a chalal and she's already 3 years and a day, I'm sorry, someone is, let's say a mamzer or an eved is boil her, he passes her from kuna, she's not allowed to marry a kayin anymore. And if one of the arayas, any of the arayas that the Torah says is by her, they'll get killed because of her, because they're gedolim. V'hi she'll be pater because she's a ketana. Now, Zak the Gemara, here's where arayah comes. Zak the Gemara, here's where arayah is. It says echad mikol arayas, vafilu behema. Behema is one of the arayas, right? So behema is boil, and the Mishnah and the Brisa says that any of the arayas is boil her, they'll get killed.
Not her.
So you see, not her. So you see, the behema will get killed, not her. Vahacha the kolan, if you have kolan, right? But the kolaleka because she's not getting killed, right? V'ktani mumsan al yada, and it says that she gets killed. So Rav Yosef says that you see that you have a raya that the reason of takala, the reason of kalain is enough to kill the behemoth. Gemara says no. Even the mezida he takala nami ikka. Since she's mezida, in other words, she be'etzam wanted to do this. It's not saying that she for sure did it. The Mishnah is talking even in a case that the 3-year-old was okay with it. She could be a 9-year-old also, or a 10-year-old, 12-year-old. Right? It's not right. The point is, after 3 in the day, that the bia is a bia. Right. So the Mishnah, the Bryce is talking about even in a case where she's mezida. Therefore, there's taka takala coming to her. She would get punished, but she's a ketana. But Rachmana hu dechasala, and the Torah had Rachmanas on a ketana because a ketana is be'etzem not bardas. Allah dida chas on her a person. Their Rebbeinu Shalom has Rachmanas. A behema loichas. A behema it didn't have Rachmanas. So the Gemara wants to say you have no right because you could say that here be'etzem we consider it like a takala and kalain, and that's why the behema gets killed. Amarav. The Rambam says, I'll bring you a different raya. Before we talk about the girl, Ketana, now we're going to talk about a boy. Tashma, I'll bring you a raya. Ben Tish Hashem v'yem echad, a 9-year-old, someone who's 9 years old in a day, a male, a bal yivimtai, and boil his yivama. Kana, he's kind of her. Now, the halacha is that the bia of a 9-year-old is considered a bia. And therefore, once he's boiled her, he's going to be married to her. He can't divorce her because he's not a bardas. He has to wait till he's 13 to divorce her. Right? She can't divorce him. The lady can't divorce her husband. The Ein Enes and get that Shiagdel. He can't give a get until he becomes a gadol, until he's 13. Umetama kinida latami mishkav tachtin ke'alyan, and he will be, the Rashash changed it to Umetama binida. If he's boil and nida, it's considered bia latami mishkav tachtin ke'alyan, just like we said by the girl that if he's boil or nida, he goes on top of something that's a separation to food and drink. The food and drink will become tamei also. Kaisel ve'ene machel. If he is vayal a woman who is, and he's a kayan.
He's not a kayan. She's a kayan. That's kayan.
If he is a paisa, let's say he's a mamzer, right? And he's bayal a woman, and she's a bas kayan. He passes her from even truma or from. He passes her from marrying the kayan. Passes her from marrying the kayan. Yeah, she can't marry a kayan. Ve'ena machel. But if he's a kayan and he's bayal her, then he can't. She's not considered. She's not considered. What?
Is it kain chol like he's messed up?
No, he's a real kayan. If he's a real kayan and he's boiled her l'shem kedushin, so he's not. His bia is a bia, but his kinyan he doesn't have bardas to do kesef kedushin to do not kesef kedushin to do kinyan kedushin, so she won't be married to him. So even though the bia is a bia, but she's not going to be able to eat truma. And he passes a behema from being able to be brought as a carbon. If he's boil a behema, halacha is a nirva can't be a carbon. Now you'll ask me a question: how can you say that you're going to have a behema that's bringing on the mizbeach if it's nirva? It's automatically getting skila. Rashi says, let's say an Eid Echad came and said that this happened. So now you can't. You know that this happened. You have an Eid Echad, but you can't kill him. You can't kill the behema.
I didn't say look at that guy with the rumor.
He's still in town.
So hold on. Let's hold that thought.
I'm talking about Ezekiel.
He's still.
What?
He's not doing it.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yes. In Niskeles al Yadai, but the behema will get niskal if he had bia with it, if there are edim. And if he's boiled one of the arayas, she will get mums killed on because of him, or she or him if it's a zachar or a behema will get killed because of him because the bia is a bia. This is what you were asking. You have kalain, but there's no takala because he's not getting killed, right? If he's boiled a behema. And it says the behema gets killed. And for the Gemara, the same Torah says before, since it's a mazid, maybe it's talking about even in a case where he wanted to do it, so you have a takala also. The Rebbeinu Shalom had rachmanas on it. On him, a live person, the Rebbeinu Shalom had rachmanas because he's a katan. Okay, so you don't have a raya from Yuri. Tashma, the Gemara says, I'll bring you a different raya. From our Mishnah. Davar achar, shleitei behema veres peshak. The behema shouldn't be going in the shak. And they'll say, Zui shniskal pleni al yada. This is the behema that pleni gets killed for. Track the Gemara, my lav. It's similar to what we said before, but a little different. My lav, with the seifa takala v'kalain, we already said that the seifa is talking about takala and kalain, because the seifa says zuhi, that's talking about the kalain. Sheniskal al yada is the takala. So if the seifa is takala and kalain, reisha kalain v'lei takala. You could say the reisha is only kalain without takala. The heichidami, what would be the case? Yisrael habala behemah b'shegeg. It would be the case that we said before that Yisrael is b'ayil behemah b'shegeg, and we would say that you don't have any takala because it was shegeg, but you do have kalain because everyone knows this is the behemah that Yaakov was special with. So you see that kalain itself will be enough to Chayv Misa. Mar says no, it's not a raya. Why? Seifa takala v'kalain. The Sefer is Takala and Kalin. The Reisha, maybe you could say the Reisha Takala below Kalin. It's Takala without Kalin. What's the case? The opposite case. That Kasha that we said before. It's talking about a guy. And what's the case? The Echidami, Eivet Kachav Mabala Behema. It's an Eivet Kachavim that was Boil Behema. The Boil Minema of Sheshes, like the Esther of Sheshes. And a Eivet Kachavim that Boil Behema has Takala because he's going to get killed. But there's no Kalin because no Kalin by Eivet Kachavim. And Memela, and this is saying that this Kasha Teretz, this Raya Teretz, is the exact opposite of the Raya Teretz that we said at the top of the Amud. It's the exact opposite. The Gemara goes both ways to say it both ways. Neither way can you say it. Okay, that brings us to the next Mishnah. Let's stop here, and Be'ez Hashem pick it up tomorrow night.